Of your name, Hotdog. Dude, that's such a badass name. Dude.
Back snack bar.
Over snack bar. Dude.
Yeah, what's up?
Man, Milo picked out, we went back to school shopping this weekend. It's crazy, man. I didn't even know he knew where Pokemon was, but he picked out a Pokemon backpack. And, yeah, man, they have changed the cards since before I was a kid.
Never got when I was a kid.
You never got Pokemon cards?
Nah, dude, even when it came out, never got a Pokemon.
Most popular thing.
Yep, never did it.
What'd you... We're too busy building cars?
I don't know, man. My mom probably thought it was the devil or something. Who knows? Like, I thought it was Satan or something.
You remember how people used to think Ren and Stimpy was the devil? Or The Simpsons? The Simpsons.
Yeah, dude, I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons, but strangely, I was allowed to watch Ren and Stimpy.
What?
That's not a good show.
That's definitely a... Dude, what'd you think of the mug?
Yeah, I know, man. Yeah.
American. Yeah. That's like Team America, dude. That's like straight Team America. I was thinking actually, so I wanted to hit a topic that I actually found really interesting. And I wanted to hear your opinion on that one, but like how to building other people up and learning from your own childhood and the art of listening, the art of actually listening, don't just react. And you learned this probably a lot with all the shit that you dealt with, but what's your opinion of that art of listening?
Listening, man, it's a lifelong thing you got to learn. You know, some people get it better than others.
Yeah.
Some people just have hard heads. I have learned, though, just being married, dude, like just being married. Like,
it's torture every day.
Dude, you got to listen, right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes you got to pretend like you're listening.
Ratting yourself out.
It's like back when you were a kid and your parents told you don't do something because they knew that the long-term effect was going to be bad.
Yeah.
But you're like, nah, I'm smarter than you. I'm going to do it anyway. And then it turned out terrible. Like sometimes you just don't listen because you have to learn the thing for yourself. Dude, my pastor, he put it a really good way. There's people that have to touch the stove when you tell them that it's hot. And then there's people that don't. They just believe you that it's hot.
Psychotic almost, actually. They just don't believe you.
It's just how people's brains receive the information. I guess it's tough, dude. I still struggle with it. I don't want to listen to my wife sometimes when she tells me to do a bunch of crap I don't want to do. You know what I mean?
Who runs the house? Who runs the house? I said, who runs the house?
I don't know, man. It's weird. Yeah. Like, I'm staying at home now, and she works full time. So she sometimes gets a little bit of, like, power trip. Like, well, I'm the boss around here. I'm making all the money. It's like, do you know? Yeah. It might be covers the mortgage and everything. So let's pump the brakes on that a little bit.
Yeah. I find that so funny. Cindy would do the same thing too. When we lived in Washington, she had a job that she made $55 an hour. So, dude, everybody was like, what do you guys do? You guys must be selling drugs or something because you guys take vacations a lot. And I was like, no, my wife she makes money. But
what was she doing?
Case management. She just worked as a case manager. And
wow.
Yeah, dude, she was so well liked and she did such a good job. And she brought the business up so well that they transferred her and did an exceptional policy in Cali when we PCS'd here. And then that company was so shitty that we just ended up being like, there's no way you can't work for this company. So we took a pay cut but yeah, she did the same thing though. It's like, so like when your wives are like, you don't make that much money. You're like, actually, if you think about the VA benefits, PAH.
Dude, the free healthcare, y'all get that because my body exploded.
You took a hit in the back.
They didn't just hook me up with that because they liked me.
Yeah.
No, they turned me into applesauce, and now you guys got hooked up. Like, yeah. Listen, though, man, Yeah, that's hard, because we're like selfish creatures. Everybody's got like a selfish streak, so it's hard for us to like listen. Yeah, dude, that's like a question for the ages. But I will say that I've learned that like I have to listen to my wife, especially when we're having conversations about stuff. Like I have to pay attention, and you learn as you get older, like you get better at it. It doesn't get any easier. You just get a little bit better at it. And your kids too. How old's your oldest kid?
She just turned 5, actually.
Just turned 5. So she's talking really good, right?
Yeah.
She could probably carry on conversations with her and stuff like that. Wally's 7. He's going to be 8 in December. And like, you really got to listen to him when he's talking about stuff because he doesn't like know how to explain things. So it's almost like he's talking like a puzzle. And I'm left figuring out the pieces to like, he's like looking for like one little Lego piece, right?
Yeah.
And he's trying to describe it to me. And you're like, I don't know, man, that looks like every Lego piece in here. But then when you find it, man, and you see it and you're like, oh, he perfectly described that. And I didn't understand. Yeah. And it's not that I didn't listen, I just didn't understand. So there's multiple parts of it. It's understanding like what somebody's saying. And, I think like backstory and context is important when you talk to people and you talk about stuff.
I feel like on the opposite side of that too, I'm kind of curious on your thoughts also when it comes to not reacting. How do you keep?
Yeah.
Do you react? I can't picture you. I picture you. Maybe everybody else would agree with me too, but I picture you as somebody who would just like make that, that really dumb, corny joke, and then just fuels them up even worse.
Oh yeah, dude, totally makes everything worse. Yeah.
Like that conniving joke. My wife actually just complimented me this week, and we actually brought it up. She's like, "You sound very icy." I was like, "Actually, I think that's my humor, like that dry." You should be like, "Oh, I didn't mean to offend you."
It's the sarcasm, man. You learn it just being in the military, and then especially being in maintenance.
Yeah,
thought a lot about this, and I think it's a coping mechanism because sometimes it just sucks so bad that the only thing that you can do is weaponize sarcasm to be able to just process and deal with just whatever stupidity is going on.
That's actually pretty accurate.
That's how I do it, man. I get stressed out about stuff. I just start to make jokes about it. Or like, my wife and I are talking about something super serious and I really don't want to talk about it because it's probably something I've done or didn't do or forgot. Or you just make jokes about it. I mean, that never ends up well, but I guess I feel better in the moment. And I think every time I think, I'm like, well, maybe she'll laugh. That's actually kind of funny. Nah, dog, shit, that ain't like.
You have to explain yourself. That point where you actually explained it so much, the joke is gone. You feel like an asshole.
I mean? Yeah, I've taken it too far.
Yeah.
A few times, probably took it a little bit too far.
So how would you stop? How do you stop yourself from reacting though? How do you actually not get upset? I've always wondered this about you.
You got to be really on top of your emotions.
Are you?
And
or do you just blank it out?
I think it just depends on the situation. Like if it's a serious conversation or this last year, something happened with Wally at school. Some kid was like being a jerk to him or something like that. It actually escalated to carrying over to being on the bus.
Really?
And the school handled it. It's kids, dude. Kids they're just buttheads, and they do butthead things to each other, and they're just kids. It was really tough for me to not like completely fly off the handle and take my trench clearing shotgun down to the district office and be like, if you clowns don't figure this out, I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
So.
Was he getting bullied? Was he getting bullied? Like, were they bullying him? Or was it hazing?
Older kids were like messing with his backpack or who knows, it's like.
Yeah.
You poke a kid too much. Kids are mean, man. Kids are mean. And the older kids are mean to the younger kids. So, yeah. It's tough, man. I'm not very good at it sometimes. And it definitely gets tougher because my body hurts so bad all the time. So I'm like grouchy. So if I'm feeling like really bad or something's really hurting, I have to like really be on top of the mental side of it to like not completely overreact or just really to just not be a jerk because I don't feel good. Like they don't deserve that. They didn't do anything wrong. So I have to like, it's tough, man. It's a big mental thing, controlling your reactions and emotions to stuff and not getting mad or not overreacting or even just trying to react the right way sometimes is also not easy. So just people, man, I think it's really hard when I've noticed this a lot. Like, people that come into the military at 18 years old struggle. Not all of them. A lot of people are very well adjusted. Start watching around when you're at work. Start looking at people and then ask them, did you come in later in life? Did you come in out of high school? And you can tell. You can tell the people that, never had a job before they came in or never did work with their parents. Like, even if I'd never had real jobs before I came in, I poured so much concrete with my dad. Dude, I probably poured a fourth of Hoover Dam in concrete, like just with my dad, the years that I worked with him. I mean, it was so much, but it was like super hard work. Construction work sucks.
Do you think that do you think that hard work and actual determination actually helps shape somebody, or do you think it actually can you see it break more people? Because one of the things I found interesting. I did actually a podcast with an old mentor of mine, and I found it really interesting that so many people, actually the majority of people, really don't like putting any effort into it. You know what I mean? Like you actually kind of like if you even so much as try to be productive and try to help, they just think you're out to get them. They feel attacked. Or they, do you know what I'm trying to shape at?
Yeah, because they can't do it at the same level that you do it, so they feel defensive, or they can't do it the same way, or for whatever reason, they get upset. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know, man. I know for a fact that the way that my parents raised me, like even though it sucked a lot of the times, was really for my benefit. Like my dad making me go to work with them, or
how did your parents raise you? How did your parents raise you? Like, what was the right way? Or what was the better way?
I can't say that my childhood was like super duper great. I had a brother that was not good. He was kind of abusive. My dad, like my parents, neither one of them had good childhoods. Both their parents were divorced in the 50s. My dad's dad, my grandfather, he was a World War II vet, like a combat veteran, and he suffered horribly his whole life with PTSD and just, he was shot twice. He was blown up by a hand grenade. And he was just a tough man, and it mentally broke him, and it caused a lot of other serious problems in his life. I don't think he was an alcoholic, but he was like a womanizer for a while.
Yeah.
And that was like real hard on my dad. It was really hard on my grandma. They ended up splitting up. So he had a rough childhood. Both his parents were pretty messed up. And then same thing with my mom. They had a really, she had a really messed up childhood too. So I don't, somebody asked me the question the other day, and it was like really profound, is what would your parents be like if they had gotten the counseling for the trauma in their lives? Because how much of that carries over into, hey buddy, what's up?
Hey.
Oh, you got my phone. Thank you. You gonna watch We Bare Bears?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like.
Oh, thanks, buddy. Appreciate
it. Such a dumb kid.
He just got up. Yeah. It's tough, man. It's hard.
So wait, where were you going with that? So say that again. What would your parents have been like if they would have got the therapy that?
What would your parents be like if they had gotten counseling for their trauma when they were kids? What if that crazy type of mental health was encouraged 50, 60 years ago like it is today? What if they had treated World War II vets that had PTSD real bad the way that we kind of go after them now, instead of telling them to just man it up and you're fine?
Yeah.
That's
really. Actually going a little bit into that myself, I actually kind of wonder what would actually, because they don't really promote it. There's still the stigma even today, but
especially with that generation. People in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, they don't talk about mental health. that just wasn't a thing. When they were kids, it was, if you were depressed or something like that, you were just weird.
Yeah.
Or if you were left-handed, like my dad's left-handed.
Oh, I don't have
He said when he was a kid, okay, yeah. So, when he was a kid, they're like, you have the devil in you.
What?
You need to write right-handed. He said when he was a kid, they would make him try to write right-handed. Dude, and his teachers would hit him in the hand with a ruler to try to get him to do it. And so he can write with both hands now, but he's mainly left-handed. Yeah, it's just weird, man. Can you imagine that today?
No,
If you're left-handed, your kid's left-handed, and they treat them like they're different, even though most of the presidents have been left-handed. Do you know that?
I did not.
Weird, right?
Crazy.
Yeah.
That kind of.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I wonder how much different I would be if my parents didn't have hard childhoods, because it was hard for me. I love my parents, but sometimes I have to keep it like arm's length for stuff because I just don't want to get absorbed into whatever's going on. Yeah.
I actually find it kind of interesting because I actually said a lot of bad things to my own mom, just because I had a lot of hatred for the way that that just it all turned out. And I realized, I was like, man, they're just getting older and they're gonna die soon, and there's not really no reason just to have it be more shittier for them,
But it was a journey to get to that realization, right?
Yeah, it's definitely been. Yeah. I tried branching out to my brothers even to be like, you guys want to see if we can create something? Just trying to dive into our childhood, and they're still on their journey.
Yeah. Think about it, man. Think about what you were when you were, 5-10 years ago, thinking about all that stuff.
Yeah.
Angry or mad or sad, and then now you kind of come full circle and rationalized it. And it's the same thing. It's like, my dad and mom, they did stuff to me when I was a kid that I just, probably not healthy, treated me a certain way or made me, go do something or be somewhere I didn't want to be, just how parents try to make their kids do stuff. Yeah. And we're very careful with that with Wally now, especially like sports. Yeah, I hated doing sports that my parents wanted me to do as kids, like T-ball. Dude, T-ball sucked. Hated that. I hated going to play that. But my dad loves baseball, and he wanted us all to play baseball. So it's like I had to do this stupid thing. Yeah. Because my dad liked baseball. And then, like, the older I get, the more I realize my dad really only wanted to do stuff with us if it was stuff that he liked. And it was never,
really,
he would never sit down and play Nintendo with me. Like, that was never going to happen.
I think you actually brought that up, actually. What was it? You said that your dad was not, he always said, do what your kids like, but he never did that.
Yep. He said, if your kid likes something, just do it with them. And then, like, he never did that. So, whatever. Yeah. That's life. Yeah.
What kind of parent was your mom?
My mom, she worries a lot. She's a worrywart. I'm not going to say she was like a helicopter mom, but she was like very protective, and then like got caught up in a lot of like the 90s mom stuff. Dude, went through all the fads. Like, yeah, she wasn't a bad mom. She tried, but it was like the same thing. She didn't have a childhood. So and she didn't have a lot of help. Her mom was not great. Her dad was just like totally not in the picture, even though I knew my grandfather and we saw him 2 or 3 times a year. Didn't really have a relationship with him, and then she tried to have a relationship with them, but it just didn't really work out. And I think that affected the way that she parented and the way that she interacts with us. So I definitely say I have a better relationship with my parents now than I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah, she was good, man. They tried. I will say that they tried really hard, but I will also say I was the middle kid. I was the middle kid, man, and my mom's told me that, the amount of stuff that I fell through the cracks on was a lot, and I'm actually probably pretty lucky that I've made it to where I'm at now, just based on that. So they tried. So, and I think that's probably about all you can really ask for. You really got to, like we talked about last time, man, you kind of got to be their ambassador versus like their boss.
That's a good way to put it.
You still got to enforce the rules. Yeah.
So you don't want to be the homie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be the homie. As much as you want to fist pump, your kid might be having girlfriends at an early age. You're like, yeah.
It's tough, dude. Like, you want to be the friend, but you also got to be the parent. And sometimes being the parent means being a jerk.
That's true. To wrap it back. So how do you control yourself from reacting? Like what helped? What helps? What's some things that you do to just you just stick to the dry humor and you just roll it off? And what like
Sometimes, dude, the dry humor is like my go-to. That's like the easiest way to deflect or process a difficult situation. But I think as I've gotten older, I've realized like I can't just do that forever. I actually have to sit down and like deal with these problems. So I've gotten better at like slowing down and trying to break down a situation and come up with like rational thoughts. And then I've also learned to just not blurt out like the first thing I say, to like actually process. Like if my wife and I are having a discussion about something or talking about something, you know, it's easy when you get heated to just spit out the next thing that you want to say in a reaction to what somebody else previously just said. When the reality is now is, you know, she probably didn't say something to upset me. I was probably just being too sensitive or was already upset, and that was a trigger for something else. So
that's a good point.
Yeah, man, it really is. And that's the truth. Like I've just had to learn to like slow down and process it. And it's okay to walk away from a conversation sometimes if you think it's getting out of hand or you can't calmly think through something. It's okay to be like, look, this is getting a little heated. Let's take a break. I'm going to think about this and we'll come back and talk about it in 30 minutes. Sometimes I'll go out in the garage, man, and I'll just sit in a chair or, you know, I'll get a wire brush and clean rust off of something or whatever, and then come back in. And now that I've had time to process it and think about it, I can sometimes come up with like a reasonable thing to contribute to whatever's happening.
You know what's interesting is like you made me remember I can't remember if I brought this up to you, but when we recently the last argument that my wife and I got into, it was really interesting because I actually stepped away and I just like took a pause because like you know obviously I'm in this position where I don't want to say anything to re-engage, and like at the same time, like I have to be cautious of hurting her feelings. And when I realized there was no point. Like my wife is very, she's very prideful, and we've been both told in counseling that we're both very hard-headed sometimes.
Yeah,
But
pride, man.
dude, I find it so interesting because like, um, why is that? Why is it so hard just to step away? Is like I'm even thinking so much as you know back at work, back at like you know you think about all these like you gotta go, and like the smallest hiccups, they're like just fix it, go, and then you bring that same thought process home, and you're like, you know what I mean?
It's hard to turn it off, right? It's hard to turn off. And it's taken me years. And there are certain things where I'm just like, why is this happening at the speed that I need it to happen? The way that we would fix things or process an inspection or work through forms or whatever, you know, we were trained and tuned to do these things at like near dangerous breakneck speeds.
Yeah.
And when you come home, some people, including myself, you don't just turn that off. You know, you see it in the movies or you hear it or whatever. Somebody's like, you just gotta turn it off when you get home, bro. It's like, sorry, dude. Like, I'm a human being and I can't just turn it off when I get home. You ever seen Rambo? You ever seen the first Rambo movie?
Yeah.
Remember that scene when he's in there and he's in the police station at the end and they've got us surrounded and he's like, he basically has to give up.
Yeah.
And the colonel's like, Rambo, you gotta turn it off. You know, the war's over. He's like all frantic. He's like, you don't just turn it off. You don't. I just want food. You know, he starts doing Rambo stuff, and it's like, yeah, you don't just turn it off, man. Some people can't just turn it off. Some people are like not cognitively equipped to work that way. And my wife and I, we're very different on that kind of stuff. You know, she can take the time to process something and think something through. Where me, I want immediate response, or used to. I've learned that like that was seldom ever the right way to approach something, was an immediate response, unless it was an emergency situation.
Yeah.
The reality, dude, anything, you can take a few minutes to talk about anything, and you're normally going to come up with a better plan. Even a bad plan is better than no plan. It is.
Very true.
And it's not easy, man. Sometimes conversation and compromise is not what you wanted, but sometimes it's this thing you got to do. Yeah. It's tough, man. People are different, Wife's got different experience and pride. You mentioned pride. It's just pride, dude. It's the pride to not want to walk away because you want to win. You want to feel like you're right. And it's really hard sometimes to recognize when you're not right. You still
Yeah.
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 And that's normally when you get yourself in some trouble.
There's this book that I read, and it was really interesting because it went over one of the tricks. It's a memorizing book, so it's called Moonwalking with Einstein, and it goes over tips on how to get better memory. And I was really interested in memorization and just enhancing that part of your brain. So if you take creatine, there's a ton of research that actually just boosts your mentality like crazy. But you have to take 20 grams. Yeah. But anyways, so there's this part of the book that was like, what helps with stress and what helps with red zone situations is you picture yourself what you're doing, or you picture yourself in the scenario that you're in, and you flip it into a positive. So when you're having that argument with your wife, or you're having that, that shitty day, you picture yourself having a better day.
Yeah, I know that works. That does work for some people. Like my wife can do that. I don't. I have a hard time with that. And I think the hard time that I have with that is that it's not reality. And that like I can't control the outside things around me, whether or not like they affect me to have a good day or not. The only thing I control is like how I see that. But I'm such I don't know, I guess I'm like a realist. I'm like a realistic person. Yeah, dude, if the lav's broke, the lav's broke. Me not hoping it's going to get better by the end of shift if we just let it sit there isn't going to fix that. You know what I mean? Like we can get a plan. Hey, let's all knock this out together and then it'll be done. Hoping you're like that doesn't work. It works for some people, and it's a good tool. If some people need that, but others like me, I don't know. It's like a black and white thing or something. I don't know. Different brainwave patterns, or who knows? I'm sure there's
more black and white. Yeah.
I think so, and then that's good, and then also sometimes that gets you in trouble because there's like gray area, and a good example is like recently for me is that I was trying to apply for jobs on usajobs.gov,
right?
And easy positions, dude, like pest control on Fort Lewis, walking around spraying bugs or shooting rats or something, like right up my alley.
Yeah.
They make you fill out this big giant questionnaire on the website, right? And it's like, hey, can you perform all these tasks? Do you know how to do this? Do you know how to mix chemicals? Do you know how to not eat poison? And some of them you're like, yes, I can totally do that 100%. And then you're looking at it and you're really being honest with yourself. The third question might be like, well, do you know the proper amount of chemicals to kill cockroaches versus Norwegian grasshoppers? And it's like, man, I don't know. It's some insane. Yeah, dude, it's like a technical question where you're like, I don't know. And you put, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. And when you send that thing off, a human doesn't look at it. It goes through a computer and the computer sees like, oh, super good, doesn't know how to do that. And then it just tosses your application out. So you have to lie on this form to get hired. And me personally, I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to click the thing that I knew that it wasn't true, because what if somebody got hurt because I said that I knew a thing and then I didn't, or what if something gets messed up, or I think just disappointing myself or disappointing somebody that has put their trust in me to complete a task is like a big deal to me.
Integrity.
And I cannot be dishonest about something like that because it's important. It's an important thing.
That's really rare though, because so I'm on LinkedIn and I showed you that, and the amount of people that use Chat GPT for everything of their lives, it is toxic. It's like the new trend. Yeah. You could have just did that. You could have just used that and just bing, 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 and answer the perfect. I guess you didn't need
it. Sucks, dude. That semester I went to college, I cannot believe how many people were just using Chat GPT to do everything.
They don't even edit it. They just straight paste it straight from GPT. You know what I mean?
And sometimes it was wrong. Like it would hallucinate the data because it didn't have enough to come up with the right answer. So it just made something up. It's wild, man. Like math. These kids, they don't know math. Do like basic addition and subtraction because all the math people are struggling.
Bro.
And it's like, oh boy, we are in trouble.
We are doomed. Yeah, so I've been doing that. I've been doing that ice bath with Thomas, and every day I've been changing it up. And the other day I gave him my phone in the ice bath, and I was like, I haven't played math games in the bath. He's like, why am I doing that? He was like, it keeps you distracted and it stimulates you. And dude, it was just division or it was just subtraction, but it was like long subtraction. You have to do it in your head, and he couldn't do it. And I was like, it's all right. Just I showed him mentally how to compartmentalize an equation in your head, and it's just like that right there is rare because the more years that go on, and if you don't teach Wally how to like think outside of the box, or here's an example. I use ChatGPT to help me like sometimes like to figure out things around the house and how to organize things. It's really good at that. And all of a sudden my ChatGPT stopped uploading photos. It just won't. I have done all the research. I've resetted it. I even reached out to ChatGPT's help. Is a ChatGPT. It's not even a human. I'm like, am I talking to another GPT about a GPT? So, but it crapped out. You can't even upload a photo into it. So I'm like, here's a prime example. You have like all these kids that's relying off the technology, and your kid Wally is going to be a badass because you're like, no, figure it out.
You know, something, and I hated my dad for this when I was a kid. I did. This really would like piss me off to no end. Is if I had to work on something, like when I first got my first car, it was a 1993 S10. It was the Blazer. It was the little Blazer.
The little pistons, the little tiny pistons in there.
Oh, yeah, man, that thing was great. But I had to work on it because it was old. It was old when I got it. It didn't have a lot of miles on it, but it was an Air Force truck. And you know how Air Force people treat vehicles.
Throw a wrench on it.
The heater core went out. Dude, this is like the first time I've ever done anything besides change oil. And my dad's out there. He's like, yeah. He points at the thing underneath the dash. He's like, you got to take that off. You got to reach up in there. You got to unbolt it. And then you got to take the hose clamps off on the other side. And you can't see any of it while you do it.
What?
So he used to, you can't see it. You can't see in there to get it. You got to do it all by feel. He said, if you can learn to just do things by feel, you'll be so much better at this. And it used to be so frustrating, but I really tried. I would work on things that I could see right in front of me, and I would close my eyes, but I would try to visualize the thing that I was working on. Like if I had to take this apart, I would look at it, and I'd look at it for a while, and I'd look at a schematic online. It's like guns, dude, when I work on guns. Before I even do anything, I get online, and I look at a complete schematic parts breakdown. For whatever reason, when I take it apart, I can like reference that and be like, oh, yeah, I think that goes back right there. Oh. But it's almost like, I've like trained myself to do things without being able to see it. Yeah, that was actually really beneficial. And especially for mechanical stuff, it's really, really helpful, especially when you can't see. You know, if you've got a repair book, you can at least look at the picture and be like, okay, well, that's the part, what it looks like. It looks like the bolt's oriented maybe this way. So maybe I can get in through the top or come around from the bottom, and it feels like it might be next to this other thing. Yeah. And then after a while, you kind of develop like almost a sixth sense to be able to reach up into somewhere and be like, oh, yep, there it is. I need a 10 millimeter and, you know, an open end socket or a box and wrench, or I need to go to the store and buy some special tool. Yeah. So that's a beneficial thing. I think. And then cognitively, you can apply that to a lot of other parts of your life. The concept of like doing something by feel versus by sight. It's almost like faith. It's like having a faith in something. You know, you saw the thing, you saw the schematic, and then you're just going to have faith that you remember and that you can do that thing in there without actually having to see it.
That's a lot like parenting, actually. You just have to set it up blindly and just there you go.
Yeah, that's been really helpful to me. It used to make me really mad because my dad wouldn't help me. What's up, buddy? What you need? Can you scoot it out of the way by yourself? Just use the other counter. Use the other part of the counter.
Dude, you're such a cool dad, man. Your kid's gonna
he's gonna go figure it out. Not a problem. He's gonna figure it out.
He must bring you so much joy just seeing your kid. Like the shitty part is your back and everything that's fucked up with you, but the flip side.
Yeah.
The flip side of it.
Yeah, man, it's been great staying home all summer with him. It's been just tons and tons of fun.
In a way.
Traded.
I said, in a way. Oh, Wally's out.
What's the matter, buddy? Your foot? You know what? Mine hurts too, buddy. You know what it's from? Wearing sandals. There's no padding on your heel.
Dude, I messed my feet up. I got such bad feet now from running all those years with bad shoes. My feet are just
Take care of your feet, man.
Yeah, they're already
Take care
looking at surgery. But no, what I was gonna say is that so when I broke my neck, I actually know exactly how you feel in a way, because it is very shitty to not be able to do those things with your kid. It is very shitty to not be able to just play ball. Or I know firsthand, like,
if anybody knows how that feels, it's you.
just sit there and just wait, and maybe
And you got to be so careful with everything. You know, if you tweak your neck wrong, you're going to be paralyzed, or yeah.
Bro, I remember this one time. I think you were there. I was in the break room and I was washing a dish, and Nick Chesney comes around. I was like, "Oh, here goes Manny. Let's just get to hold it up in front of you and wash it, like, because you couldn't, I couldn't look down." Just- but like, I remember Jones even one time they're operating on the hangar door, and Jones was like, "You're a perfect guy to be a sitting, ground guy, a sitting ground." I was like, "I can do that. Let me just sit here and just do nothing with my life." Just to just sit there and just maybe have a good day happen tomorrow. Your day's shot already for the day, and then just to absorb that and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, just 1 second. I'm going to help him with that. Sorry, the cereal bag ripped down the side. You know how that is in the container when you do that and then it spills everywhere.
Well, I guess I want to let you go because this way you can at least enjoy your morning with Wally. But I want to ask you, so what are 3 takeaways you can think of from today's conversation? Really, there was a lot that you actually touched up on. What are 3 things, 3 takeaways?
Well, first off, man, I really appreciate you, and I appreciate you doing this. I think it's really cool, and I think you're doing a really cool thing here. Try to be patient. Try to understand. Try to just try. You may not always see things that your wife sees it or a coworker sees it. You're not that person. You're incapable of having that exact perspective of somebody else. But if it's somebody that's in your life and it's important, then you'll be more eager to be receptive. So, just try to be patient is a big thing. And then again, kindness, love and kindness. Just if you try to treat everybody initially with that, I found that normally interactions that can sometimes tend to be unpleasant or look like they could be unpleasant, being kind to somebody can really just diffuse a lot of tense situations. So that's a big one. And I think you're doing a really good job of this. It just continue to grow. Just even when you feel like you're stagnant. I feel pretty stagnant right now, but I'm still growing in other areas. Like I'm growing as a father, definitely, being home, taking care of all that stuff. And I'm growing as a husband, taking care of all the chores and stuff around the house and picking up groceries and doing that side of it. It's definitely not what I was genetically programmed to do. And it's still kind of a mystery to me. There is a mysterious part of it that I just don't understand. Like I can see the work and I can, mostly do the work. There's like that weird mystical drive behind it. Like when you're fixing something on an airplane or a car or something, right?
Yeah.
Like think about it next time. There's like a weird thing that's happening that you're going to complete that task and you know how to do it. But if you had your wife come out and you explained it to her perfectly and you gave her all the tools, everything, she may get it done, but she's going to do it differently than you do it. Yeah. And that's just like weird, mysterious part. Yeah. There's more than one way.
The coding of you, your genetic coding, your uniqueness,
Yeah. And that just goes along again with just trying to love other people and trying to understand other people and, do the best you can to put yourself in their shoes just for the sake of being kind. You know what I mean? And you can say it's, I I try to be a good Christian. I'm not always really great at that, and that's okay. You know, Jesus loved everybody, and I got to try to do that same thing. And even if you're not, that's okay too. What a great way to live your life by just not being a jerk. Like, who wants to wake up and be a jerk? I mean, look at those people. Just look at Brown, total jerk.
Really great point you just made there. That's true.
It's tough, dude. And I even struggle with that. I don't even believe that sometimes I'm mad or trying to do something or dealing with the VA. Dude, you ever want to choke the life out of somebody? Wait till you get out and you got to deal with the VA. Brother. You're from Oregon, right?
Yeah,
you're from Oregon. Oregon has a pretty good VA system because there's not that many people that live in Oregon.
Texas,
but like California and Washington, they're like they're like 49 and 50 on the list for VA systems. And bottom, dude. I'm gonna go see a medicine man on the Nisqually tribe before I go to American Hospital.
Yeah. I just got that analogy. What does this do? I don't know. It would probably help out. Yeah, what's crazy is that I really just did this for my kids. And what's really cool about this is when your kid even gets older, this video will be here. You don't even have to do anything about that. I post it, I edit, and then your own kid would be like, my dad, what? And then, you know what? Because you never know what's going to happen. Like, like plan for the worst scenarios. And I don't know if you've tried this, but have you ever tried organizing your photos and videos? That shit's just copy, paste, don't even bother. Like, it's hard.
I can't do it. My brain, I can't. Dude, there's like 30,000. I'm sure your phone looks the exact same way.
Bro.
You start looking like, why do I have pictures of my kid? Why do I have a picture of just a shoe? I don't even remember why I did that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that.
But your kid's gonna remember this, and it's so interesting because somebody brought it up to me. Is your kid is going to remember you sitting right there on the table making this video, and your kid's gonna remember you sitting right there and watching him play the sports because you still showed up. Because showing up is better than not showing up. I think we both can agree with that.
A bad plan is better than no plan.
Jesus, man.
Yeah. Because you can improve a bad plan. You can't improve no plan.
It kind of reminds me of me taking the officer test. I took the officer test, and I was like, well, let's just see how this works out. And then I actually failed in the one category I didn't even expect, vocabulary. I was like, how did I fail? Like, I didn't fail, but I didn't get a passing score. I'm like, how did I do so bad at vocab? But it's like, it's true though. At least you still tried. So now I can understand how the test works for me. But there's so many people that don't even bother. It's so interesting. They don't even. Dude, that's a hard test. I would just say that's a hard test. But not trying is worse than not even. I don't even know what's worse than not even trying. That's sad. That's just depression. So, and what's interesting is that I have. So last night we were playing this. I guess I'll end this with this question. So we have this card game we play with friends, and their friends came over last night, and there was this question. Let me see if I can find it. It's a fun little card game, but there was a question. Yeah, in what ways are you similar to your father? And so when that came up, and it was my turn to answer that, I was like, I don't know. My dad was never there. My dad was a rapist. He actually was legitimately a rapist. He went to prison for rape, and he just did a lot of bad things, got locked up. So I'm like, so when you're a kid, how are you similar to your father? Man, your kid's going to have so many great stories.
I hope so, man. But, you could have a lot of great stories based on that card, too, because you got a clean slate, man. You got a unique perspective on what not to do. And I think a lot of times, which is not great, because you didn't get to be with your dad. And that's a big bummer. I'm really sorry about that. But at the same time, have a really good opportunity to be a trillion times better than that. And you are doing that. You're already 10,000 times better than all of that. And that's not to say, but you've learned other things too. You've learned like forgiveness along the way and patience, and you're very articulate. You've learned how to talk things through and think about it. So in a lot of ways, your kids are going to see that side of it, and they're going to see the importance of that type of stuff because you've put the importance on it. Like my dad put the emphasis on working hard was like the most important thing. And in my mind, it's still broke that way, that I still rationalize things that if I work really, really hard, somebody's going to recognize that and I'm going to get rewarded for that. Even if it's just a good job, and I took that mentality force and I worked really hard. And it turns out you don't really get rewarded for working hard. Turns out the thing you get rewarded with is more work because you're doing it better than 15 other people. And they're like, well, we can't rely on these 15 other people. So we're just going to make this guy do it. And he's really good at it. And we're just going to do it till he explodes and then find somebody else that's going to fill those shoes the same way or a little bit different.
The machine.
The machine, the meat grinder. You're just a gear. Gear gets wore out. It was a real good gear, but it's time to put her out to pasture, melt it down, and make another one.
You remember the movie Starship Troopers when there was like more meat for the grinder? That scene when he's signing up.
Screw chiefs, dude. I've got a meme on my phone, and I look at it. Let me see if I can find it, man. It's the perfect thing that describes being a crew chief. And you like Star Wars, right?
I love. Oh, I think I sent you that. The one with the Millennium Falcon. No, not the Falcon. That nobody remembers the maintainers in Star Wars. Yeah. I sent you that.
Does anybody remember the maintainer?
Yeah.
That blows up the Death Star?
No, that one never made that happen.
I have another meme on here. I don't know. Look at this.
Yeah. Dies with Erica out of burning anger. Yeah, dude. That's awesome.
You wouldn't understand, buddy. It's just a funny picture. Posthumously awarded in Article 15 for not using a TO. Could see that happening.
Man, I love talking to you, Fuller. I really appreciate this, Lucas.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. I really do. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I'll talk to you later, man. Maybe we can convene another time, man.
You want to do it again? You got it, bro.
Sounds like a Monday thing.
You got it, man.
Cheers, man.
Have a good day.
Peace out.
Bye.